Now that we have completed setting up our demo company in Xero, the next element that we're going to cover is the bills to pay section of Xero. This involves anything related to purchase invoices and any bills that you have received from your supplier that you want to record in Xero, and you can even process the payments that you've made to the suppliers through Xero. So I'll just be touching base for the first part. So for this, I just want you to hover over to the business tab and go all the way down to purchases overview. So this is just a snapshot of what the entire purchases section of your business looks like in Xero. So here I'll just explain the basics. So the first part is draft. So these are all the invoices that have been imported in Xero but have not been sent for approval or have been posted to Xero. So they are just in the draft stage. The next one is awaiting approval. So these are a step above from the draft. So these have already been sent for approval, which needs to be approved by a senior accountant so that it can be integrated in the Xero system. And the next one is awaiting payments. So these are all the payments, these are all the invoices that are yet to be paid from your side. So these are the invoices that have been posted to Xero, but you have not paid your supplier regarding these particular invoices. So these are in the total amounts that are to be paid to your suppliers. The next one is overdue. So the overdue section represents any bills that are already way past their due date. So these need to be paid immediately to your suppliers. The graph below just represents a snapshot or a bar graph of the things that we already discussed above. So the blue section represents awaiting payments, and these have also been shown on the labeling in the top right corner of this graph. The green represents the paid section. And if you want to see a longer overview, you can just expand this over so that you can see dates for a longer range. Since this is a demo company and we have not imported much data into this, so this is just a limited overview of what Xero is actually capable of doing. Next up is purchase orders. So purchase orders are basically the things that you have requested from your supplier, but they have not yet responded. So for example, if you want to order something from your supplier, you can send them a quote. So this is basically a quote that you are sending to your supplier so that so that they can bill you later on. So this was it. And once you hover over to the new tab, this is basically where everything related to purchase invoices will be created in Xero. So if I just go over to the drop down menu here and I press on it, there are 4 major options. So these are the 4 main areas of purchase invoice that can be posted in Xero. So the first thing is bill. This is a normal purchase invoice that can be posted in Xero. A repeating bill. So if you have a bill that comes from your supplier every month. So for example, you have a subscription for Microsoft 365 Office, and each month you are billed, let's say £6 for your subscription. Then you can set up a repeating bill so that you won't have to post the invoice every month, so that it will just be repeated out for you. The next one is credit note. So if you're not already familiar with credit notes are basically returns or refunds that you have asked for your supplier. So these credit notes basically offset the purchase invoices that you've already posted in Xero. For example, you ordered a subscription from Microsoft for £6, but you did not need the feature that was additional £3. So you can just put in a credit note that deducts the £3 from the £6 subscription that you have posted in purchase invoice. And the next part is purchase order, as we have discussed below. So let's just go over to the edit bill section. So this was the main purchases section of Xero. So this is where every bill that you post in Xero will be recorded. So for this bill, I want to cover 2 aspects. The first aspect is where you already have a supplier existing in Xero, and the next part is if you don't have a supplier existing in Xero. So let's just see. For the first part, I just want to search Abby and Wells. So if I already have a supplier, it will just be shown in this tab, and the date is when the invoice has been issued. So for example, let's say the date was 1st of January 2025. The due date, when you're supposed to pay the supplier for this bill or this particular product. So once it's past the due date, it will be shown as awaiting payments on the graph that we had seen previously. So I can just manually enter this. For example, I can just press like, okay, so this is due like in 1 month, so 31st January 2025. So I can either do this, or if it's due after 7 days, I can just use shortcuts which are available in Xero's website. So for example, if I just do +7, it will show 7 days after the invoice date. And if I just use other features like multiplied by 20, it will show 1 month and 20 days from the date of invoice. So these are just basically shortcuts that I want you to go through. It will be easier if you are working on like bulk documents. So the reference number is basically your invoice number. So let's just say the invoice number is basic INB 001. So you can just fill this up from the invoice document that you have. The next up is item. So the purchase invoices can be posted in Xero through two ways. The first one is item. You can create an item which has predefined description, quantity, unit price, account, and everything in this section, so that it will be easier for you to create repeating kind of bills that you receive from suppliers. So let me just click on this drop down menu. So for example, if I bought okay, let's see, golf balls from Abby and Wills, you can see that these have been automatically fulfilled based on the item that had been added to Xero. So we'll cover this in more detail in the products and services section that will come up in Xero. But for the next part, I just want you to show a purchase which has not been included in the item section. For example, if you have an item which has not yet been included inside Xero and you purchase from Avi and Wills, you can just go over here and you can, if you press a new item, you can just create an item code, item name. For example, let's just say 54T. I want to purchase a golf bat. Okay. So the in unit price of golf bat is, I don't know, maybe it's like 50 pounds. And purchases account is where you want this purchase to be recorded in your profit and loss account. For example, the purchase of golf bat would be, okay, so it would be like direct expenses, let's just say. And the tax rate, I just want to keep it at 20% VAT on expenses. The description is simple. And we will cover these two items in more detail in the future. But for now, we're just learning how to create a new item in Xero. So every time you want to purchase a golf bat, you can just go here, and if you just press on it, it will fill out these sections automatically for you. Now, if you don't want to add an item, and if it's just like a one-off purchase, let's just say it's like golf bat repairs cost, okay, you can just manually press it in, and let's just say the supplier from Abbey and Wills charged us 25 pounds for it, and I'll just keep it under repairs and maintenance, okay. So in this way, you can just create purchase invoices with items already existing in Xero or items not already existing in Xero. And if you want to add PDF documents or any purchase invoice that the client has sent out to you, you can just hover over to this file section on the, let's say, top middle corner of the screen. And if you just press on it and press on upload files, or if you just drag and drop files here, Xero will link your purchase invoice to everything that has been posted here, so that it will be easier for you to track everything that has been posted and cross-check or cross-verify things with the source documentation. Now here are two major options. So you can save this this purchase invoice as either draft, or you can save and continue editing. Like this will be saved, but you can still make edits in this section, and you can save and submit for approval by anyone who is responsible for approving invoices, which will most likely be a senior accountant or someone in the designated position. And you can save and add another invoice in the same manner. In the approve section, we have like two things. So the approve one is basically the menu that will directly post this into the system of Xero. Approve and add another will approve this bill and show up a screen that looks similar to this once you approve and add another. So this is just basically how you post a purchase invoice in Xero. For the sake of our tutorial, I just want to press on approve. So once I press on approve, this will automatically be posted into Xero as a purchase invoice. This will be reflected in my aged payables or the suppliers that I need to pay, and this will be reflected in repairs and maintenance and direct expense account and purchases account that I had selected on the purchase invoice section. In the next part, I want to go quickly over the remaining parts of our bills to pay section, which would be repeating bills and purchase orders. And I just want to touch up quickly on aged payable summary, as well as credit notes and how you can allocate credit notes to certain purchase invoices. For this short tutorial series, this was it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.